Hi there. Welcome to this edition of ChamberSOUTH Spotlight. I'm Tiffani Helberg. I'm a proud member of ChamberSOUTH. And today I'm joined by Giancarlo Rodaz from Area Stage. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. So I've met your mom. She's a Spitfire. I love her. So how did she entangle you in this amazing organization?
Well, my father founded the company in '89, and then my mom joined him that year, and they got married. And growing up, I was born in '95. I was not into theater at all.
No.
I actually did not like it. I thought it was cool that they did it.
Yeah.
I didn't know how it worked. But once I was around age 12, I spent a lot of time indoors playing video games, and they were like, "We just opened a conservatory for kids, and we're doing our first show. You're doing it this summer." And I was like, "Please, no." I was like, "Please, I really don't want to do that. That sounds awful." And they were like, you're doing it. And ever since, I've just been doing it nonstop. I have not stopped since I was 12.
That's good. That's encouraging news for parents, because I force my kid to do things.
You have to. You have to. I mean, kids want the worst things. They want to stay in and be comfy.
So for those who don't know, tell people about Area Stage.
Well, like I said before, it's been around since '89. It's a theater company that started doing very edgy, new work, a lot of plays, a lot of smaller plays, and they got a lot of national recognition out of it. But it was only recently, like the past 15 years, that we started doing programs for students, for children, different types of outreach. My mother started a program called ITP, which is for actors with disabilities, which is a really, really cool program. And it's really brought the whole organization to life in a really awesome way that I've seen grown as I've gotten older, because I started in it when I was a kid, and to see where it is now, it's like there's so many students now at the company. Sometimes I see people, I'm like, I don't know that person's name. It's really crazy just how many people are part of it now, and how large it's gotten. And how many you see sub communities within the community of Area Stage, and it's really wild to see that. But we still do, our main stage season of shows, which I've picked up a lot of the directing responsibility on, and in recent years we've been doing great. Since post-COVID, we've expanded even more.
So you talked about some of the kids that you mentor and help get into theater. How do you see it change them?
I mean, like me growing up, it's remarkable what theater does, because it activates a part of your brain that I think a lot of kids don't get to activate anymore. It's theater, it's not my quote, but I always follow the philosophy of theater is the art of community. Everything in theater is about, getting together with people and, telling stories, telling your own story, learning how to communicate your ideas, how to literally speak and be clear in front of people, even for kids who don't want to do it professionally, just as an extracurricular thing they do. You see a massive change in how they carry themselves in the world. And when you have, I tell, everyone I know that I think phones are I don't do any drugs or anything, but phones are as bad or even worse for your kid's brain.
Yeah.
Seriously, this is awful for your kid. This is terrible. And it's like giving your kid 2 packs of cigarettes a day. It's crazy how bad it is for them. I don't think even we're all aware of how actually bad it is. And to see kids go through the conservatory and not be able to even say hello to people, and then just all of a sudden be this comfortable, confident person in a room. You see a lot with our ITP program. There are, many actors who are very much on the spectrum or have Down syndrome, and they don't have the ability to speak, really in conversations and things. And the muscle that it exercises in their brain, it really, over the years, you just see these kids become social butterflies. And it's really wild to see that. It's dang, that kid's more confident than I was, talking with people, and it's really remarkable to see that. For everybody, for everyone that comes through. I think that's the most fascinating thing, because I think a lot of people think, well, it's I don't want to be an actor when I grow up professionally. It's you don't have to be. It's really something that you come and take part of in it. expands you as a person. It's really cool to see that.
And how is it impacting you to watch these kids grow then?
I mean, it's wild for me. I mean, you see these kids go through, and now I'm at a point where I've seen multiple groups of kids go from like 6 to college, and just it's really that confidence change where they become someone that can just walk into a room and like command a room. I've seen it happen with like even like the shyest kids, and people who have literally problems, being social. It's really cool to see that element of it. I'm also very much into like psychology, and even when we do fairy tale stories, different things like that, I love the psychology of that. So like that's something I really think about when we do our programs for children or any show that we have where kids walk in and they are like, no, like because I see myself in that. I see myself not wanting to like step out and do anything outside my comfort zone. I'm like, don't talk to me, don't look at me, like I don't want any attention on me. And all of a sudden you open up that way. And I really sincerely believe that, especially now, like in the age of this, like that is such a rare thing, because especially with so many things getting replaced by like AI and like, jobs getting replaced by AI, there's really nothing that can replace just getting in a room with people and talking.
I agree. So priceless.
Yeah. And it's the same, the technology may have like changed around it and how we do it, but it's literally the exact same thing that we've been doing since like we were cavemen, like straight up, it's the exact same thing. And I really think there's something really basic and important about it that won't go away.
Sure. So if there are people who really don't want to be on stage, there are other avenues for them to participate, right?
There are. I mean, we have a lot of interesting ways that people can get involved, from being in a tech position. I've seen kids that come through them just like, what's your name? It's like, I'm volunteering for this. It's like, we're doing this now. Like, you're helping with this on the set or doing lighting or different things. I mean, there's a lot of parts. That's why I love it as a community-based art form. I mean, there's just so many things that go into it beyond, being on stage explicitly, that you see kids really join like in administrative ways or backstage or in the front of house, like organizing with people and doing different things. And it's just like so many aspects of putting up a show and doing theater. And even if you don't want to do a play, I mean, there's kids who just do singing or piano, and it influences them in all those different ways still that I mentioned before. So, I mean, it's just, all the people you meet and all the people that come together, you also make lifelong friends that you wouldn't have met otherwise.
Sure.
I think that's a huge element of it too. The people that, it's fun to see like kids like grow up and they go to college and they're still hanging out like with the friends they made. I still know all the people that I hung out with. We're all from different schools, all from different places, and you just make these friends that you never really let go of, once you get older, which is a really important element too.
That's so awesome. So tell me about, from the audience perspective, what's different about the shows that you guys produce?
Well, I've been really into immersive theater. I think, recently we've been doing a lot more of these kind of grand scale musicals and putting them into an immersive format, meaning that we make these very elaborate, large sets that audience step into and the show happens around you.
Oh.
I've been really obsessed with not having a stage, basically, and just making like a space where the audience and actors and all the artists kind of coexist. And we have every show that we do, we kind of have to redevelop the rules of how you do theater for that particular story and that particular space that we make. And we've been doing a lot with Disney shows too, because I think those shows lend themselves well to stepping into a world. Because I grew up in the theme park world. I grew up going to the theme parks, being a Floridian, and that really influenced my idea of like what it means to like step into a space in like a live entertainment space. And that's been a bit of our claim to fame the recent years. We've done Oliver, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, which both those shows we've collaborated with Disney directly on, and we were able to like work the script, go to their offices, talk about it, make a new version of it that has been done before. So we've been doing a lot of those kind of large scale family shows in that way, which has been fun in its own way, because you see a lot of kids come out and they're like, I can tell a lot of the parents that come to see our shows think it's like, well, this is going to be like Paw Patrol Live. No disrespect to Paw Patrol Live, but like, but it's gonna be like a projection screen and people like in mascot outfits, and they come in, they're like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, this is happening all around me. This is nuts. And to see kids like that be their first experience of theater is like an education unto itself, which is really, I love that element of it.
You just brought up another really great point. You're helping to develop an appreciation for the arts and theater in kids that will last a lifetime. And so many of them, like my son, you want to go with me to see this play? No? Okay, you're going anyway.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, I think it's really interesting because, I know with kids especially, kids are really smart, and kids are especially good at knowing when someone's pandering to them. Kids know. Of course. Like, the way I always tell the actors is like, they might not know theater, but their brain understands storytelling. Like, every brain is pre-equipped to understand storytelling, and they don't know why they like it or don't like it, but they just know they don't like it. And especially with the children's entertainment, I love that world. It's typically called children's entertainment, but I really love, the Walt Disney's angle on it, of that it's not for kids, it's for everybody, because you see a lot of people coming to see these shows, and sometimes the parents are getting more out of it than the kids, because these are stories that grow up with you. When you're a little kid, you identify with one element of it, and you get older and you watch it again, you're like, oh man, I really identify with this.
Yeah, and there's emotion tied to it.
And yeah, there's that stepping back into childhood and wonder and all those things that you get, that I get when I do the stories. I think, when kids come to see it, and we try to do it very honestly, where we don't think about it for kids. Like, we're not trying to make it consumable for children in that way, because if you do something honestly, kids will get it. I remember recently we did a performance for high schools, and everyone was nervous because high schoolers can be a rowdy bunch. Yeah. And they were all just so tuned into, we're doing Beauty and the Beast right now, and they were all so tuned into the production, and they were having so much fun, and everyone was like, oh my God, like, these kids are awesome. But I could see on their faces that they were like, this is fun, like, this is cool. Like, even like the most bro, like, Miami kid, was there. And they were all having a really good time, and to see that, and a lot of them told us it was their first time seeing a show. So it was really rewarding to get that feedback from them, where all of a sudden they were enthusiastic about it. And I think for me, that's what I love about these family shows. And I love really bringing, my parents raised me on very crazy out of the box theater. They took me a lot to see theater growing up. And, to bring that to something like a Disney show, it's just to a lot of kids that come see it, they're like, I don't know what that was, but that was fun.
That was awesome.
That was cool. So it's really that's the most rewarding thing, because kids are the toughest audience. They don't care. Adults will be like, that was great.
Yeah. They might lie. Kids will tell you the truth.
Kids will tell you the truth.
That's true.
Yeah. Adults will lie to your face.
Right. So what shows do you have coming up?
Well, we have a lot of different projects in the works. We have a workshop of a show that I'm writing that's really exciting. It's called Lady Miasma, which is like a horror fantasy show. It's almost as if an animation studio in the 1920s or 50s was like, what if we made a horror movie? And so that's kind of the vibe of that, but I don't want to give too much away on that. We're doing a workshop of that in the coming months. And we are doing Frozen next year for our Disney show, which I'm really excited about. That's going to be a really crazy show, because there's so much that goes into that show in particular. So many special effects and things that I think in an immersive environment, that's going to be really cool. And we have a lot of really great new projects that I can't talk about yet, but keep a lookout for us.
Stand by for greatness.
Yeah.
What do you want people to know about Area Stage and how they can get involved?
I mean, what I've learned is that there's really everyone's welcome, and there's no barrier to entry. I love all the programs we have because there really is something for everybody, and that's something my parents have worked really hard on, and they still work, to this day to make happen, is that there's a place for every single, type of person in the company, and at any background, skill level, even if you've been in theater for years, even then, there's something for you to get out of it. And, the friendships that come out of that and the community that comes out of that, I was telling one of my students, his name's Pedro, he was in a production we did of Hadestown with the kids. And I remember, we were talking about what he wanted to do as a career. And I was telling him that no matter what, every day to day, like what's going on, there's some exciting thing happening in my life, that has to do with, either young people stepping into a show for the first time, or people finding a little creative moment for themselves and being proud of it and to share it. Every day there's something genuinely, meaningfully exciting that happens in my life, and I'm just really grateful for it. And I see that reflected in all the people that get involved with the company, which is awesome.
That's great. I love that state of mind.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember that and try to embrace it.
Yeah.
Giancarlo from Area Stage, thank you for joining us. And we hope that the rest of you will go to some of the Area Stage shows, as well as volunteer and participate in their awesome program. We also want you to become part of ChamberSOUTH, where you can mix and mingle with business leaders in our community. So many great things going on here. Thanks for watching.